Welcome to another episode of 17 Minutes with South. ECR All Talk Radio. Hello and welcome to ECR All Talk Radio, 17 Minutes with South. Our weekend's guest is none other than Wellfare Bear. How you doing, Wellfare?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Now, Wellfare, that's also your gamer tag on Xbox One, member of Elite Cup Racing. Wellfare, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my real name is Jesse Hughes on Facebook, from Greenville, South Carolina. Been racing with ECR for a little while now, a couple years. Used to run truck series pretty regular, backed out of it, and now I just run whenever I got time.
Now, you went into one of my questions as far as how many years have you been with ECR there?
Uh, Man, it's been a long time. I would say probably at least 4.
That's a long time to be racing. What's your do you remember your first win there, Welfare Bear?
My first win, I believe it would have been either Michigan or Auto Club.
Very similar in tracks as far as size and speed that you're carrying into the corners, going into the entries. Um, Personally, I've won at Michigan. I've actually won at Auto Club too, but it was a little bit of a mistake. And Auto Club to me is a better track. How do you feel about that?
Um, it's a bumpier track. I can say that. A lot of grooves to be ran at Auto Club, not so many at Michigan. Uh, just stay within the seams and don't get loose.
Now, speaking of tracks, looking at your record, you have a higher number of wins. I would say at the super speedways. What is your favorite track? And if it is the super speedways, why?
Uh, my favorite track would probably have to be Talladega. Just all the history there. Um, I just enjoy the teaming up with somebody and not letting go.
I mean, it's pretty much. I look at Talladega as controlled chaos, and
Yes.
it's almost like as if every lap is pretty much the last 3 laps, and anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just like the pressure of it being the last lap every single lap. I'm the type of guy that I'm gonna perform under pressure.
Um, now speaking of racetracks and whatnot, what is your car number in the Cup Series when you did ran?
It was the 11.
Is there some history there with the 11? Is that what you like?
No, not really history there. It's just a number that looks good, feels good, just seems right.
That's usually what I tell people to pick. Is pick something that looks good, something that's bright, shiny, and can move people out of the way.
Yes, sir.
Now, who do you who do you like racing with as far as whenever you're in the pack and you either see this car coming to try to pass you, or you're approaching this car to pass, and who do you feel just comfortable racing around lap after lap after lap?
Uh, I've noticed the last couple times that I've raced, it would probably be on one. Just something about me and him, we just really click, or me and yourself, we just really click, and you don't really have to call your spots, don't have to tell each other where we're at or what we're doing. We just automatically just jive to it and get it done.
That's always comfortable. There's a couple guys that I race around, and it lap after lap really don't have to call the spots, and they pretty much know what's going on there. And the same, it's a respect thing too, because if I'm multiple laps down and I see the same car coming, I'm going to get out of the way and let that guy go because I'm just not competitive during that race. Um,
Exactly.
what's your favorite series that you'd like to compete with Elite Cup racing?
My favorite series would probably have to be the truck series. I mean, if anybody knows my history with the truck series, then I mean that's pretty much my baby.
Absolutely. We had some kickoff with the truck series. Whatever for whatever reason, when that did not work out, you were next guy in line, took over the truck series, and began your adaptation to what the truck series needed to be with Elite Cup racing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Basically, from what it was, I just restarted it from the ground up. Um, I went in there, guns a blazing, just changing everything the way I wanted it to be, the way I thought ECR wanted it to be, and I'm pretty sure it ended up pretty good. And from my knowledge, everything's still sticking around from what I created.
Absolutely. And in your creation, you also found a member that we at Elite Cup Racing very much enjoy. Uh, I call him LaFar of Truck Nuts, simply because everybody else calls him LaFave. LaFave has been a great adaptation to Elite Cup Racing and brings a lot of stuff to the table with um, his creations as far as the way he does stuff and stuff like that. We nothing but enjoy what LaFave has brought to Elite Cup Racing in the Truck Series, because now that with your scheduling, you have pulled out of the Truck Series, and LaFarve pretty much runs it now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, just work and just everything going on in my life right now. It's really, really tough to be racing week in, week out, 3 days a week. It's just tough, man. I miss it, but it's crazy right now.
Absolutely, like I tell everybody, life happens, and when it does, there's no telling what's going to happen. Do you want to, just in case LaFave Truck Nuts, LaFarve Truck Nuts hears this, do you want to give a shout out to him or anything?
Yeah, LaFave, I really like what you're doing over there on the truck series, and nothing but respect for you and everything you're doing, man. Keep it up.
Now, going into the truck series, it's the way the trucks race. It's definitely different, and you can almost compare a formula to the Xfinity series and the Cup series, but you can't necessarily. I don't believe that you can necessarily use the same exact setup that you use for the truck series for any of the other series. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's it is different. You have to be have an open mind whenever you're running the truck series because something that's going to work in Xfinity or Cup series, it's pretty much just come off the walls and just throw something at it. And if it works, it works. If it don't, try again.
So, with that with that mindset, practice does make a better start as far as a vehicle, whether it be in the Xfinity truck or the Cup. Um, moving on, is there one race with Elite Cup racing that just stands out that you either want it back to try it again, or it just you're when you look back, you're like, man, that I pat myself on the back for that because that was hard and it came out pretty good for me.
Um, Honestly, last night's race at New Hampshire, I would love to go back and retry that again. There was a couple mistakes on my end that I had made, and if I could go back and redo it, I'm pretty sure I could have been up there with the top two running for a win for my first race back in a year.
Speaking of your first race back, congratulations. I mean, it was still something to hang your hat on as far as there was pretty much a very competitive top five. There was a little bit of a gap between top five and maybe your top six to your 10th, but still though it's nothing to be embarrassed about because it was a definitely a good race, a caution free race. Speaking of New Hampshire and listening to people talk about New Hampshire, it's not a very favored track as far as the competitors. A lot of people do not like New Hampshire for some reason or another. What about yourself?
Uh, Honestly, I really don't like New Hampshire, but last night it was different. It wasn't the track that it used to be. It wasn't the chew you up, spit you out kind of track if you mess up one time. It was actually real good, close racing, good short track racing. Um, yeah.
Was there a moment last night where something you remember from the race? I know that me and you raced for a little bit side by side, giving and taking and taking and giving, and I do recall if we've got the video, I think we got the video of maybe the 11 getting into his teammate the 18. Do you remember anything like that? Let's go ahead and pull the video up right here. Yep, there's the video, and it looks like, yep, um, you maybe pinched me a little bit there, but it's all good.
Yeah, just just one of them things, man. Not being in a car in over a year, just trying to get my feel for things. Um, hey, shit happens.
It it do that, don't it? It do that. Welfare. Let's take a little bit of a commercial break right here, and we'll be back in just a second.
Tired of getting pushed around by Bless and Evo? Well, come put them in the wall with Elite Cut Racing Xfinity Series Tuesday nights.
Hey, this is Welfare Bear, and don't forget to tune in on Thursday nights for ECR Truck Series.
Listening to 17 Minutes with South on ECR All Talk Radio.
Welcome back to ECR All Talk Radio, 17 Minutes with South. Again, our special guest is Wellfare Bear up in their booth. Welfare, say hello again.
What's up, guys?
Now, Welfare, I know you've been gone for about a year now, and there's been a lot of changes, a lot of moving around, some new admins coming into play. We got Phil Killer. Some things are switching over with the Xfinity series as far as Colts, Phil Killer. Even the Madden is switching over a little bit. And with the trucks, we've got Mr. Bad Boy Bagging Bucks up in there helping out LaFarve. And we're going to, I know you talked about the truck series. We're actually going to, next season, a lot of people may not know this, we're going to switch the racing dates around and move them, the truck series from Thursday to Tuesday and the Xfinity series from Tuesday to Thursday. What's your thoughts about that?
I think that's a good move, man. It makes more sense having the Truck Series race before the Xfinity race. I mean, that's what happens in real life. So why not in ECR? I only made Truck Series on Thursdays back whenever I was running it, when I founded it. Uh, Only because it was more convenient for me. It was a day that I could actually take time and sit down and actually run the thing. Um, but yeah, go ahead, move it to Tuesdays. Sounds good to me.
With the thought process of doing that, asking people that race both the series, both the admins and the controlling factors of each series, it's got a pretty good support line behind it as far as backing it, and it's almost as if what you just said. Yeah, well, just yeah, why not do that? So um, outside of I know this is Elite Cut Racing, and the reason why I bring this up, we also play football, and we just started golf with the help of Phil Killer and Unworn and some other guys. Outside of racing, what are some of the games that you play on Xbox?
Uh, I'm playing a lot of this golf club right now. I tried out the Madden League. That- I wasn't competitive at all. Uh, I played maybe half a season, got beat up pretty good on it, and I said, "Screw this! I ain't gonna mess with these guys. They're too good for me." I just picked up Ghost Recon. Play a little bit of Call of Duty. Play PUBG and Apex Legends.
That's a real good portfolio for gaming there. There's not too many games I play, and I know that you said something about Ghost Recon. It's also one of the games that I play. Now, with that said, as far as the real life NASCAR goes, um, for some of your people that follow you and stuff like that, who's your favorite driver for NASCAR?
Uh, Favorite driver for NASCAR? I really don't have one. I'm the type of guy, as long as you're running good and consistent and you're not a dickhead, then good for you. You're doing something.
Yeah, it's kind of the same boat that I'm in. My driver that I pulled for years ago has now retired, and I'm kind of stuck between one guy or another. It's definitely going to be a younger guy. Even though I drive the 18 in the series of Elite Cup Racing, I do not pull for Guy Bush. That's one driver I would like to slap in the face. But um, your race last night, moving back to ECR, your race last night was the first one in, like you said, a year. Could we expect any more of these pop up races from Welfare Bear?
Uh, it just depends, honestly. It just depends on work schedule, how it goes. I'm starting to get a lot more Saturdays off, and it just depends on when and how and what time I'm spending time with family. Yeah,
Family
so
always comes
I'm not
first.
really not really sure when I'll make another return, but if anything, I would love to either race at Chicago, Talladega, Daytona, Auto
Speak
Club.
Speaking of
Hell, maybe
Chicago,
even throw in. Go
uh,
ahead.
not to not to time stamp your interview here, but Chicago is next week.
Yeah, it just depends. All depends on what's going on next week. Next week. I mean, I pretty much here lately have been running my life, running it day by day. Whatever comes up, I go for it.
That is definitely that's like I said before. That's life. Now, welfare. Speaking of some of the like you said yourself, when you came back last night, you'd been gone for a year. Also, we had another guy that has been gone for a couple years. Is there one guy in particular that you used to race with for Elite Cup Racing, or used to race around, that you no longer see with Elite Cup, that maybe might see this video and say, you know what, he's right? Is there a guy that you wish would come back?
Man, I tell you, it's been up in a lot of conversations of mine with other ex Elite Cup racing drivers. But Smoke Johnson, man, I wish he would come back. He was a good competitor. He was fast. He won a lot, but I was always right there on his heels whenever back in the day whenever we would run together.
I don't really know what happened with him. It's almost like he fell off. And someone told me the other day that he was on PlayStation. I don't know any truth to the rumor as far as that goes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard is that he's on PlayStation now.
Now, Welfare, we're getting ready to wrap up your interview here. Is there anybody you would like to give a shout out to?
Uh, no, not one particular person, but just ECR as a whole. I'm gonna give a shout out to you guys. Y'all are one of the are the best. Not one of the best. Y'all are the best uh around. Keep up the good work.
Well, we do appreciate that, and I speak for everyone. Don't ask what you can, or don't ask what your league can do for you, but ask what you can do for your league. And that's a motto that we can hang our hat on. And as long as we're doing that, we can keep moving forward and create a core base that is simply unbreakable. And it's like I was telling a guy the other night, a new guy that came in. You come in and you gain respect. You earn respect. You don't just take it. It doesn't work that way. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how slow you are. The main goal was to have fun. As long as you're having fun, um, we at Elite Cup Racing are doing our job. Now, there's been incidences where stuff happens and people get cussed out, stuff like that. That's not what we want to do. And 17 South, I've been involved in a lot of incidences where arguments are created, and I don't think there's not one person I raced with today that I didn't get into as far as arguing. And maybe Kent, the guy that won last night, congratulations Kent, is about the only guy I never got into it with. Maybe you will. I don't think I've ever got it to you.
Nah, I'm pretty sure me and you got into it. It might not have been on Xbox, but it's been out there.
With that said, thank you for racing with us again last night, Welfare. Like you said before, you don't get many free nights, and you chose to spend your free night with us at Elite Cup Racing. And when I say us, I mean Unworn, Evo, Bless, Tar Heel, LaFarve, Bucks, Phil Killer, Colts Kenny, uh, Phil, John Gainey or Jay Gainey. I mean, the list just goes on. Ramrod. There's just so many guys. Keystone, Cobra, Sullivan, Tack. That one guy that got the duck lips. What's his name? Kane?
Yeah, Kane.
I mean, the list goes on. I mean, and that's what we're trying to do is develop a core that's simply just unbreakable. Uh, Welfare, I'll let you do what everybody does as far as the podcast go. I will let you nominate who you would like to see do the next podcast, and also go ahead and sign us off.
Guys, it's been fun. It's been real. Uh, I'd like to nominate. Oh man, like you said, the list goes on and on and on. Uh, let's nominate the man, 17 South itself, for his own podcast, answering his own questions. Uh, it's been fun, guys. See y'all later.
You know how hard that's going to be? Uh,
Look, this is what you got. This is what you gotta do. You gotta ask yourself questions and then answer your question.
that's gonna be the next episode, guys. We're gonna do an interview with 17 South, And with that said, we're signing off. This is Elite Cup Racing signing off. Thank you guys very, very much. ECR All Talk Radio.